anyone hear me? Let's hope I got it right for once. Doubtful the way my day's going, but there we go. Right, let's have a bit of noise. evening, guys. How you doing? Oh, I need some water. It's lemon sticky in here tonight. I hate that. If anyone ever gets any problems, by the way, with and your hands just get very clammy, which it is because the weather is weird here at the moment. I'm not sponsored by them, but I thoroughly recommend Johnson's baby powder. It's actually really good stuff. You can always tell where I've been playing because it's just like a pool of talcum powder on the floor, you know. Oh, my sound is very low. Is that sound on my microphone or on the playing? Let me turn the mic up. I couldn't find the mic that I want. Let's try that. Oh, that's just on the cusp of going up. So was it the playing? It's low. You can't hear me. Oh no, I thought I had this sorted just now. Let me just get. Is it the playing you can't hear, or is it the microphone? Can someone help me? Sounds better. Right. Okay. Was it the playing that was low though? Because I need to sort that out. If it is, I need to. Let me just put that up a bit anyway. Right. Okay. It's okay now. Right. Okay. Playing and voice. Raise them all. Right. Okay. Right. Let me just do that and that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's all right. I'm having to use a different mic at the last minute because we had a school concert this week, and I took my SM58, the industry standard, in, and I know I brought it home. And do you think I can find it? Nope, can't find it at all. And I remember thinking, that's where I put it. 2 days. What day is it today? Friday. Yeah, sort of maybe yesterday. And now, hi guys, and now I can't find it, so I've just grabbed another mic. So this one, let me, I think that's as much as I can push it. I'll try and get it towards me, but of course this type of mic requires a completely different clip, which I don't have. So the air was blue in the test earlier on. I did just check after I did it to make sure that it hadn't gone public. And luckily it hadn't, because I was having a go at myself, shall we say, and leave it at that, I think. But there we go. Right, so I thought I'd start off with a 12 bar because I promised last week that I would actually go through this, and I haven't had a chance to update the Google Drive, but I will do tonight or tomorrow. It's just been a mad week. I had 4 Harley Benton guitars turn up on Monday or Tuesday. So then I had to quickly record, what was it? The SATO. Anyone know what that stands for? The Aussie song. SATO, SATO, I don't know. It's got a dot after each one. Which, weird, I can hear other videos loud and clear, but this one's quiet. Oh really? Not heard a word. Is anyone else, anyone else not hear me? Let me have a look. Come on, your lifestyle, but never actually. Right. Hi, RJ the Quizzer. Can you hear me, guys? I know Lee's got a problem. Anyone else having a problem? Now I've got that as high as I can. I think if I do this, one, you right, you can hear. I don't know what this other level does, if I'm honest. But right, you can hear me. Okay, that's fine. When I do this, because guys, this is what I try and do tests. Right, it might. Right, okay. I'm going to take that other one off because I think when I listened back to number 6, there was like a bit of slapback delay. So hopefully I've eliminated that because I understand as much as I about technical stuff on a computer. Echo, yeah. Now there is an echo. Right. Right, I've turned that off again now. So has that echo gone? Because I think that's what was causing the echo. So has that echo now gone? Right, that is it then. Right, at least I managed to eliminate that. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Yeah, let me try and get the mic as near as I can, but there we go. Right, there we are. Right, there's sound, but compared to other videos we're watching, to turn right up. Yeah, that is a bit strange. I don't think other people are having a problem. Maybe it's the gain on this. I have got the gain set right up. It could be that I am using that different mic. Now I can try and push it a bit more. Let's have a look and see it, but it might feed back. Yeah, it's just starting to feed back there, so I can't put any more gain in it. That is the mic, isn't it? Yeah, that is the mic. Yeah. We'll try. Hopefully I will find my 58. And no doubt, as soon as this is over tonight, I'll put my hand right on it. But I have stripped everything down to try and find... You know what it's like. You can't find your car keys, don't you? You know. It does my head in. If I spent... I literally spend half my life looking for things. I have a good clear up and then can't find anything. Although I must admit, this place does need a really good clear up at the moment. But, oh, yeah. It's just a nightmare, but there we go. But I started off with a 12 bar because this is the thing I wanted to go through tonight. Let me have a... That's better. So, when we're looking... Now, that is just a straightforward generic 12 bar progression, which is the staple of, I don't know, millions and millions of songs, basically. That's using all, well, it's saying sevenths, but it's basically you're hearing. Let me go here. Right, now let's see if you can hear my guitar now. Right, let me do that camera down a bit, actually. There we go. And where's my footstool? I haven't got that out because I was too busy looking for my mic. But right, okay. Hopefully I will put my hand on it. Unless some kid's gone in my bag, because that's what I thought it was. Right, okay. So that's basically just a sort of generic... A, E and D, or A, D and E should I say. 1, 4, 5, 12 bar, like I say, the staple of so many songs. There isn't a band alive who haven't done a 12 bar, and obviously a lot of bands have built their careers on it, like Quo for a start. I mean, when the Stones started, they were a 12 bar blues band, and so were Led Zeppelin, but they obviously then went off on a tangent. Now the thing is, when you're playing, even though if you're playing a more traditional blues, can you hear that guitar, guys? I can turn it up. Can you let me know if that's gone? Or, sorry, not gone. You can hear that. So when I'm playing, even if you're playing sevenths, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, or you're playing that sort of straightforward, more sort of blammer, A5, D5, A5 and A6, D5, D6, etc. Doesn't matter. The thing is with this is learning to do what they call playing over the changes. All right. So a bit louder, right? Okay. No worries. We can do that. There we go. Let's try. There we go. So that's just using like the power chords, A5, A6, or a seventh chord. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Both these progressions are very, very, very similar and also very, very common. So what we've got basically is, and it's called a 12 bar, people don't know, for one very simple reason. It's a 12 bar progression and then it starts all over again. Simple as that. So it's a piece of music that's 12 bars long, doesn't really deviate too much. Sometimes it does. Chuck Berry's another one. I mean, you know, yeah, it is. It is also known as the 12 bar blues. But you know, you think Chuck Berry, which was more rock and roll. Johnny B. Good. I mean, he made that intro into several intros, and the chord progressions were all pretty much the same. But the most common way of doing it is 4 bars on the A. Now we do refer to it quite often as a 1, 4, 5. Now what that means is, and as I said before, everything in music, doesn't matter what it is derived from the major scale. So if I take A major, So I take the 1 would be A, the second note B, third note is C sharp, fourth note is D, fifth note is E, sixth is F sharp, seventh is G sharp. I'm going back to another A, so 7 notes. Excuse me. Now, if I take the first, the fourth, and the fifth chords, or the first, the fourth, and the fifth notes, that will be the A, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the D, and then the 5 is the E. So hence we have either the 1 chord being the A7, the 4 chord being the D7, and the 5 chord being the E7. All right, so 1, 4, 5. The most common way, and quite often it's written out in Roman numerals. I quite often write it out like that, because then it's non-key specific, you know, so you can kind of go like 4 bars of the 1 chord, which would be the A, 2 bars of the 4 chord, the D. This will all be in the Google Drive anyway. Back to 2 bars on the 1 chord, so that's 8 bars. So 4 of the 1, 2 of the 4, 2 of the 1 again. Then the last 4 bars, or often referred to as the turnaround bars, we go to the 5th chord, which is the, in this case, E or E7. Then go to the 4, which is then the D7. Then the 1, which is the A7. And then finish on the E or the 5 chord. So it's just a turnaround. So it goes 5, 4, 1, 5. That's the most common way of doing it. Now, you can split this up loads and loads of different ways. There's lots of permutations. One of the most common changes is to kind of go like 1 bar on the 1, and then bar 2 on the 4. So think Sweet Home Chicago by which will be in E. So that will be... That's the 1, and then we just got the 4 chord for 2 bars, and etc. So the bar 2 would actually be the 4 chord. That's a very common way of doing it. The last 4 bars, if you think Johnny Be Good, that's 5, 5, 1, 1. There's lots of ways of splitting it up, but the main thing that I'm trying to get over tonight is how you're going to solo over that, and that's the important thing. All right. So does anyone not know how to play rhythmically a 12 bar, by the way? If you don't, please say in that, and I will go through it without any shadow of a doubt. It's pretty fundamental, the 12 bar, to learn. It really is. It's really fundamental, because there's so many. It's one of those things that I try and tell the kids that, listen, your mate's playing down the red line or whatever, and he says, oh, why don't you come up, Jim, and do a song with us? And he says, oh, well, I don't know any of your set list. Oh, it doesn't matter. See that song there? That's a 12 bar in A, B, D. Right, okay, we will go through that. And then you can just go up and you'll feel, I know it might sound strange, but you will feel your way through the changes. The 12 bar is very, very familiar. You know, like I'll play this to a kid, and I go, "Oh yeah, I recognise that." Well, yeah, I expect you will. It's the staple to I'm literally millions of songs. All right. So if I play like, and what I do is I'll play it just as the most standard way of doing it. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing this. We can either play it with 7th chords, or probably the most common is to play it with the power chords. Now, I just switch the cameras a second, then we can get a close-up. Thanks, guys. I'll do it on this camera. Right, I thought I had it sussed, and then, of course, I haven't. Right, I try and do a close-up on here. Let me get rid of this. I think what it is, actually, is... Let me have a look. Now, I did see this, the audio input capture. No, it should be going through the interface. Right, okay. Okay, we'll stick with this camera. I'll have another play about with it. Oh, I hate technology. I really do. So... we're going to play it with just the power chords, and we're going to look at it two ways, all right? So if I hold down the 2nd fret on the D string, which is the E note, and I play the open A with it, and we're going to count 8th notes. And I would just do it with all downstrokes. It's just easier for now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that will be a bar, okay? And we start off with 4 bars of that, but we'll get round to that in a minute. Now, just to make it a little bit more interesting... okay, and more like probably most songs, if I'm honest, is we're going to play that A5, which is the open A string, and the 2nd fret on the D, and then use your 3rd or your 4th finger, doesn't matter, okay, because if you're finding it a little bit hard to stretch with your 3rd finger, use your 4th, doesn't matter. It's good to get a bit of strength in that 4th finger, if I'm honest. So then we're going to still hold down that 2nd fret on the D, but now... we are going to play, well, what is the F sharp note on the 4th fret of the D string. So now I've got an A and an F sharp. And that we would call A6 because I'm using the root and the 6th note of the scale. So I've got A5 and then A6. Now then, if we split up each beat for each chord, so on beat 1, we're going to play a pair of 8th notes on the A5, 1 and, then on the A6, 2 and, then back to the A5 for 3 and then 4 and on the A6. Okay, so put it together, it will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so that's 1 bar. Okay, so that's your A5 and A6, and this is why A is such an easy key to play this in. All we do is just take that shape down a string. So now we're playing the open D string with the 2nd fret on the G, so that's the D and the A, so that's D5, and then go to the 4th fret on the D, which is the D6. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... okay, so I've got 2 bars of that there. We start off with 4 bars, but let's just run through the chords first. Okay, so we've got the A5, open A string, 2nd fret on the D, A6, open A, 4th fret on the D, D5, open D string, 2nd fret on the G, D6, open D string again, but now 4th fret on the G string. So now the only other pair of chords is the E chords. So now we just jump a string coming up, and now we play the open E string at the bottom with the 2nd fret on the A string, which is our B note, and then the 6th chord will be the open E string again with the 4th fret on the A string, which is your C sharp. Okay, so it's the same pattern: A5, A6, D5, D6, E5 and E6. Okay, so that's why A, like I say, is really the easiest key. All right, now like I say, there's many ways of splitting this up, but what I'm going to do nice and slowly is play through the 12 bars. Okay, so we'll have 4 bars of the 1 chord, which is the A, A5 and A6. We'll use those. 2 bars of the 4 chords, which will be the D5, the D6. Back to the A5 and A6 for 2 bars. Then that's 8 altogether. And then we've got the last 4 bars, which is what like I said, we call our turnaround bars, where we're going to go to E5 and E6, which is our 5 chords. Then go to the D, so we're just string skipping there. It's not easy to say. And then we're going to the D5 and D6 for 1 bar. Back to the A5 and A6 for 1 bar. And then we're going to finish bar 12 on the E chords again. So the last 4 bars are E, D, A, E. So I'll play the whole 12 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Bar 3. Bar 4. Bar 5. The D chords. Back to the A's. Bar 7. And then 8. Then the E. Bar 9. D for bar 10. A for bar 11. E for bar 12. And then we start all over again. So that's basically it. It's just those 12 bars, repeat, 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 repeat. That's what's so great about it. It just is a really, and it's quite interesting this because obviously everyone's trying to sue him every 5 minutes because he's worth a few squid, is Ed Sheeran. And he went to court, I think it was last year, it might have even been a year before now, because someone again was trying to say, well, you ripped off this song and we want 20 million. And he proved in court that you cannot copyright a chord progression. And thankfully he won the case, because whoever first come up with a 12 bar, literally, if they'd have copyrighted that, they would be the richest person on the planet, I should think, without shadow of a doubt. Because, like I say, I don't know of a band alive who have never done a 12 bar. Yeah, it's just so diverse, you know. And sometimes, you know, you have like 12 bars with like minor chords, so like A minor, D minor, and E minor. Generally speaking, the chord type will remain the same. So if you're doing a minor blues, it would be A minor, D minor, and E minor. So the 1, the 4, and the 5. If you're doing dominant sevenths, it's A7, D7, and E7. So again, they will all be the same. Now there is a thing that's done more often than it isn't, and that's when we're playing. I mean, that's the great thing about YouTube, guys. Now there's so many backing tracks on there, and there's some links in the description. Go and have a look at Gary at 24/7 Jam Tracks and Tom at Elevated. They produce some really high quality ones. They're the two that I recommend above anyone else, and that's for sure. And you know, there is a thing that's done in a minor key where they alter a chord, and then I get it's the most requested question that I get is, well, how come I'm playing an A minor, it says A minor, and then suddenly there's a different note? That's a whole new different lesson, which we will get round to. Okay, it's a really nice, if you like people like Santana and Jeff Beck, they basically built their career on doing things on a songwriting thing. Does your guitar 3 pickups? Yes, this one does. I've just got this, and if I'm honest, I don't know what it's called. That's terrible, isn't it? It's a Harley Benton. That's all I can tell you. It's very nice. I like the finish, and there's some lovely flame in the neck on the fingerboard. There's actually some nice flame on the neck as well, and that's expensive wood. But the fretboard, and that's not a veneer, that's proper, you can see it, lovely, and I love flame wood, I do, and quilt. I'm a bit of a sucker for it, that's for sure. But yeah, I got humbucker HSS, as they call it, humbucker single coil. Hopefully tomorrow I should be doing a bit of Jakey Lee, because I've never covered any of Jakey Lee, who I mean, Ozzy has some great guitarists, oh blimey. And he really did. And Jakey Lee only did 2 albums, sadly, and I really liked his playing. So I'm doing, I think, a Shot in the Dark. I think I've got lined up to hopefully film that tomorrow, which is a great solo that he did. He was very, again, another different player. And of course, you know, Randy, arguably the best, if you like, certainly years ahead of his time, that's for sure. ZZ Top, Lagrange, yeah, that is, that's only a 3-chord trick, but it modulates. In other words, it changes key. The first solo, it kind of goes, and then the second solo, it kind of goes, and then the third solo, it kind of goes, and then the fourth solo, it kind of goes, and then the fifth solo, it kind of goes, and then the sixth solo, it kind of goes, and then the seventh solo, it kind of goes, and then the eighth solo, it kind of goes, and then the ninth solo, it kind of goes, and then the 10th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 11th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 12th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 13th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 14th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 15th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 16th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 17th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 18th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 19th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 20th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 21st solo, it kind of goes, and then the 22nd solo, it kind of goes, and then the 23rd solo, it kind of goes, and then the 24th solo, it kind of goes, and then the 25th solo, it main progression just goes A to C and D, and then in the first solo it goes C, okay, E flat and F. So it's the same sort of pattern, and it's great. I love Billy Gibbons. I managed to see him 2 years ago or 3 years ago in a little O2, not the big one in London, one of the local ones, 1800 capacity, and he did look a bit frail, but I think he's always looked frail, if I'm honest. But he still had it, and you just knew you were in the presence of greatness. He's another kind of Gilmour that he doesn't play too many notes. He doesn't have to, but he knows exactly which ones to do. And he really does. And it was a very strange gig, because it was just a 3-piece, but instead of guitar, this is where it gets interesting. Instead of guitar, bass, and and drums, it had some bloke called Hank someone on guitar, but the guitar sounded like a bass. Very strange. Very strange. It kind of worked, Was it like... Yeah, that's a great... Billy's just, what a player. What a band. That they were, I believe, the longest running original lineup band ever. Because I think they had 50 or 51 years, the same 3-piece, before Dusty sadly passed away, which was, terrible. There is actually a very good Netflix documentary. I don't know if it's still on there, about ZZ Top, and I watched it one night, and it was fabulous, about the early days and what have you, and they had them all on there. It was great, and yeah, what a band. Totally underrated. I love ZZ Top, I really do. That person did a fantastic cover. Oh right, yeah, no, I will. That's a great song that Joe Bonamassa did. A great one as well. Yeah, a Golden Earring. There's another band, Dutch band, if I remember right. They're obviously known for Radar Love, but they did a few other things as well. Funny enough, we just had a student do that on drums in one of the concerts. That's not easy, I'll tell you. That's a good grade 6 or 7 piece, I think. She did a really good job too. Really good job. So that's our 12 bar as far as the rhythm side of it's concerned. Okay. So, you've lost the sound again. Guys, can you still hear me? I'm certainly coming up on the level as coming in. Don't know. Let me know if you can't hear it or whatever. Please do. So as far as lead playing is concerned, now most people, okay, the vast majority would go, oh yeah, A minor pentatonic. Okay, you've lost the sound again. Has anyone else lost the sound? Seems everyone else is okay. Yeah, I think there might be, Alter Hugo, I think there might be a problem on your end. I don't know. Everyone else seems to be doing it. Yeah, thanks, Herbie. I was the guy on AGT, yes. The much younger version of me. I still looked about 80, I'll bump the phone. That's normally my thing. Actually, to show you, actually, I think I told Herbie this in the week. To show you how stupid I am at times, I came home the other day, and I'm always in a rush. And the first thing I did was open the studio up to boot up the computer and put the heating on, because obviously it's still minus whatever it isn't minus, but it's still cold. And I turned the lights on, and I thought, oh no, you're kidding me. The lights are on half power. I thought, well, at least I'm an electrician, I can sort it out. Then I realised I had my sunglasses on. Took them off. Funnily enough, the lights come back. Only I could do that. I really do think only I could. Oh, thanks very much, man. Yeah, it seems, well, that was actually the end of this month. It was the 29th, I think, of March when I actually recorded it. I know it didn't go out till June, whatever. But it was recorded. I was only there for, well, 2 full days, really. And they were action-packed, that's for sure. It's something that I will never forget, that's for sure. Well, thanks. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did. If you enjoy scaring yourself to death, that kind of enjoyment. I enjoyed the bit afterwards where we all went for a meal and I thought I can relax now. Sadly, the next morning I was back on a plane for 11 hours, but there we go. That's the way it goes. But back to this 12 bar, okay? Now, like I say, you can play. So if I do this, I don't know where we are in the progression. Let's have a look. I can probably line it up here. So what I can do, let's have a look. So bar 1. So that's just playing the A minor over it, which works. Okay? All works. But this is what we call playing over the changes. Now then, the 1 chord sounds particularly good. I'm now going to use the major pentatonic over the 1 chord and then the minor pentatonic over the 4 and the 5 chords and just over the last 4 bars, really, because it makes more sense to do it like that way. So now I will start off with a major and you'll see there's a bit of tension there. So there, over the 1 chord, like the first 4 bars and then bars 7 and 8, I went to the major pentatonic and used that. There's just that little bit of tension there. So it's, and you know, even if you were just not even playing to a backing track, so if I go... Now move to the minor. So then you can almost hear the backing chords over anything. So it's really good idea. This is why the theoretical part of it, this is what I call really, really useful theory. You can never have enough options, okay? That's for sure. But this is just such an easy one to do. Now you might think, okay, well, I know my minor pentatonic and we've been through the 5 box patterns, okay? And that's great. But what's my major? Well, actually, you already know a couple of them because there's a relativity between the major and the minor, okay? So if I play a minor pentatonic, just play the first octave. So I got A, C, D, E, G, and back to A, all right? Now, if I wanted to play C major pentatonic, okay, I just start on the C note. C, D, E, G, A, C. So that's a relativity there. But if I look at the key, and I'll show you a quick trick here, okay? We all, as players, tend to go, just the vast majority of people do this, and they really do. When we're soloing, we love the minor. It's great. Oh, it's just more friendly and what have you. It just sounds sweeter, okay? So that's great, but what we need to do is to think, well, okay, so I'm in A minor, but what we call the parent key? The parent key would be the major, because the minor is derived, like absolutely everything else in music, from the major scale, okay? So, easy way, well, two ways to do it. If you know your notes of your major scale, go to the 6th note and you'll find the natural minor. But we don't need to do that. There's an easier way, okay? If we assign our first finger as a minor finger and our 4th finger as a major finger, and this works both ways, okay? So I'm in A minor, say, all right? I'll put my minor finger, because I know that I'm in A minor, but I want to know what major I can use. 1 finger per fret, and I land on a C note. So it's C major, okay? Now this works the other way. So if I want to go and play a major pentatonic, all right, I know basically that there's my major, so I'm now going to the 2nd fret, which is F sharp minor, okay? So F sharp minor pentatonic has the same notes as a major pentatonic, or F sharp natural minor will have the same notes as a major, okay? So if I'm looking at it from this point of view, and I know my A minor pentatonic there, if I think, well, I'm just going to play F sharp minor pentatonic, but I just start on the A note. So that's A major pentatonic. If I start on the F sharp and just go to the F sharp, that's F sharp minor pentatonic. So they're both the same, all right? So this is just an easy way. Who's doing their grade 1? An easy way of finding. It gives you more options. And when you're doing a 12 bar, like I say, over those 1 chords, use that major, because it's just that little bit of tension there, which is really good. Hello from Brazil. Where are we? How long have I been playing? Oh, I don't know. I didn't start till late, when I was about 18, 19. So however long that is, and I'm 62 now. So I don't know. Long. See you, Lewis. So a long time. 43 years or something. Someone's better at maths than me. Lewis, quickly, if you're still there, what grade 1 are you doing? Is it RSL, Trinity, RGT? Oh, what am I recording through? I'm just going, I've got a webcam going. I've got my webcam on my Pocket 3, but that's cutting the sound out, so I don't know what's going on tonight. My Stream Deck isn't working either, so I don't know what's happening. But there we go. I need to have another look at this. Where are we? The camera is just, I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's got Logi on the front. It's a Logitech something. It wasn't an expensive one. It's just an what's that say? HD 1080, I think. I thought it was supposed to be 4K, but I don't know. But then I don't think you can host 4K live on YouTube anyway, as far as I know. Oh, you're doing RGT? Okay, right. Okay, well done. I used to be a member of the RGT, registered teacher, and then it got bought out by LCM. I mean, that's who I did my teaching diploma with as well. And I did my grades. I went, when I got into this, there was, because I knew no theory at all, nothing. I didn't even know any scales. I could still play, but I knew if I was going to have to teach it, I'd have to learn it. So I basically took grades 3 through to 8. And they're very good. I think the RGT is the hardest one. I think we need amalgamation of the three, because there's bits that I like that I don't like in RGT that I like in Rock School and maybe Trinity. But you're never going to get anything perfect, are you? I mean, that's just the way it is, really. But yeah, oh well, that's good. I don't hear much from the RGT anymore, which is a shame. They stopped doing registered teachers, and I think they've started up again, but they never invited me to join again. But to be honest with you, I probably don't need to do it anymore. It was good at the time. I liked it when Tony Skinner had it. And it was a bit more, you could ring him up and say, look, Tony, you know, what would you recommend for this? And he talked to you, and it's been swallowed up by a big corporation. It's still good. I still think the syllabus over all of them is the best, because you have to learn chord charts and you have to learn your scales, as you well know. And that's one thing I don't like about Rock School. And I'm not saying I don't like Rock School exams, I do. But with Rock School, and I'd be interested on your thoughts on this, is that you don't have to learn the scales. You can just read them from the book when the examiner asks for them. Now, my opinion on that is, when you join your mate to do a solo in his band, and he says, all right, it's in the key of B or whatever, and hit a solo there. Yeah, all right, I just get my grade book out. Yeah, you're not going to do that, are you? Come on, you should learn your scales. Go over them so that they are literally part of you. You don't want to be reading a book, do you? That's my opinion, and that really is my opinion. Other people would disagree, I'm sure. But I think they should take that out of Rock School. I think you should learn them, and they should test you on them on that. And I also think they should put a sight reading, but not sight reading notation, sight reading chord charts like they do in the RGT. Because, guys, that's how we work out in the real world. You know, we all work off chord charts. I mean, obviously, I've got friends that read notation and are great sight readers, and they'll have the dots, which is great. You know, fine. But I'm not a sight reader. I can work it out. But that's the great thing about this instrument. You don't have to know sight reader. I'm always jealous of piano players, because they've got one clef for this hand, one clef for that hand. They're reading both at the same time and doing that. I mean, I know millions of people take it up every year. So, that's a bit tricky, you know. And the clefs are two different notes on two different lines. So I've got absolute respect for anyone who sight reads that. But then if you're sight reading guitar, at least on a piano, you know where middle C is. Well, middle C on a guitar can be, there's 5 of them. You don't know which one they mean. So guitar can be hard from that point of view. But it's something that I nearly got into years ago, but just didn't have the time to dedicate to it, and it would be good, no question, but you don't need to. And I think the general consensus is now that you don't need to. Yeah, that's cool. It's a really good thing. I'm glad you're doing the grades, you know, I really am. I think it's a really good thing to do. I did it because it forced me to learn things that I wouldn't necessarily do. And also with the RGT, this is something, the relativity between majors and minors, they are quite good on. And that's something that Rock School doesn't really address. So, you know, and then you've got Trinity. Now, this is an interesting one, because Trinity do it, and I've got a student who is grade 8 on Trinity but knows no scales at all. Now, he can play. Trust me, he can play. He really can play. But so we're having to sort of learn things that I think should have been in. But when I went to the launch of the Trinity many years ago, the Rock and Pop, and I remember looking at grade 7 book, I think it was, and Hey Joe was in there. And I thought, Hey Joe, grade 7. I mean, I know they were playing it the proper way. still wouldn't call that grade 7. And I said to the lady, where's the theory? And she said, no, we didn't put it in because guitarists don't like that. I said, oh, thanks very much, and left. Because I thought, I'm not saying you should be heavy on theory at all. There's a lot of theory I've had to learn, which subsequently I've probably forgotten, just to teach it to other people. But the theory, like between the relativity of major and minor, really opens up the fretboard, and it really does. And you're right there. You can't never start too early, but you can never start too late as well. I think my oldest student once was 72, and he had the time to dedicate to it, because when you're learning an instrument, guys, that's really the main thing you need. And it's not the amount of time, it's the regularity. So if you've got like even 20-30 minutes a day, you'd be amazed how much is achievable. But if you only do 2 hours on one day in a week, it's going to take a lot longer. Because like I say, you come back after a week and it's like, oh, well, what was I doing? And most of the time goes on just trying to remember what it is. So it's the regularity of practice, and it really is. That's what I started at 56. Yeah, that's great. It's great, absolutely fantastic. You're never too old to start. I thought I was old at 18, 19. But no, it's a great thing to do. I think so. I might be slightly biased. Yeah, very slightly biased, very overly biased, admittedly. But it's helped me. Music has helped me, and I think everybody has got some music. I think everybody would like to play an instrument. It's just, it does take dedication. It does take time. And we're living in a world now, 53, great, magic. And we're living in a world where video games, and I'm not the greatest lover of them, I've got to be honest. But, because I have students day in, day out that will go and spend 4, 6, 8 hours on a video game and then tell me they didn't have 10 minutes to practice a song they should be doing. Oh dear. But they make those games just kind of easy enough to get you to do it, but there's a little bit of difficulty in there, and unfortunately there's no actually, do you know what, I don't think I've had a look at this. I'm just going to change guitars. I'm going to show you something. I don't think I did this, but you will tell me, because I think that's in here. No, it's not in here. Okay, I thought it was. Right, okay, it must be. I know it's indoors. Did I use, has anyone seen that Light Jam guitar I've got? Well, all the LEDs are on the fretboard. I think I used it. I think I did a couple of weeks ago, from memory. Don't know. I think I did. Excuse me 1 second. Oh, let me just do that. Right, okay. Oh, let's shut that down. Otherwise that's going to, there we go. That's going to die on me. But that's quite an interesting thing. Whereas it all, with the app, you can then just program to show where scales are and chords are. I think it's quite good. I think a few years ago I would have said, no, you should just learn it and be more traditional old git of a teacher. But now I think, hang on a minute. Why shouldn't we make it as easy as possible? Yeah, okay, I did it the other way, but who cares, I did use that before. Right, okay, magic. So yeah, I've just come to the conclusion that, yeah, if it makes it easier, then why wouldn't you? And I've always said that you're better off starting on an electric rather than an acoustic, because electrics are easier to play, so yeah. But I think I've yet to, I must take it in next week and lend it or start lending it out to some kids and seeing if it works, because I've got a couple in mind that might not necessarily practice, but they might do with this. I don't know. I did try it with one kid, who'd never played it. He didn't even know what a scale was, but he followed the lights. So it works, which is a good thing, I think. But there we go. So basically, guys, tonight it's all about, like I say, the 12 bar is the staple of so much. So when you are having a go at soloing, go to a 12 bar in A, whatever, and just think, right, over those one chords, which in A would be A, if it was in C, it would be C. Use the major pentatonic, and then when it goes into the minor, use when it goes into the 4 chord, or into the last 4 bars, because you've only got one of each, all right, then use the minors, all right. It's a lot sweeter, all right. I mean, this is a jazzer would think, right, well, I'm going to dissect absolutely every chord and use this mode and this arpeggio, which is absolutely fine. I tend to play more by ear and how I feel, rather than having to dissect everything, although it is good to do this on what would be a more basic level, certainly more basic than jazz, that's for sure, because that's quite tough. When you finish with rock, go to jazz. Yeah, you're right. Strumming on acoustic is great. I love my acoustics. I don't play them. I did play them at a concert this week, which was nice. I backed some singers to just do some songs, and it was nice to get the acoustic out, because I rarely do. Shame there's not that many acoustic. Well, there are a few. Actually, let me put it over to you, because I know a few, but I could miss some here. Acoustic solos. So who know what acoustic solos do you know? So where we actually start playing, a solo. So for instance, Slash does on Patience. There's a couple of solos on that. I've done those. What other acoustic solos? Let me put it over to you guys. See what you come up with. There's probably some that I haven't even thought of. I can think of another one that I'm literally I've been waiting for 18 months for a guitar to turn up, so that I can do it. But I'm going to kind of guess that it ain't going to turn up now. So I probably will do it on something else. Yeah, and that's the one. Wish You Were Here. Yeah. Oh, this is great. Absolutely love that one. It's supposed to be. I suppose the Yamaha was supposed to be sending me one of these Tag C or something. Entertainment. Yeah, that's a great Paul Weller. I love Paul Weller. I absolutely do. I know he can be a bit, artiste, shall we say? But he's a lot cleverer than people give him credit for. I mean, I know. I think a lot of us are of that age where we knew the Jam, and then obviously that finished, and then the Style Council come along, but I tell you what, there's some great stuff on that, some really good playing and really clever chord progressions too, really clever. Is anyone interested in songwriting, by the way? If anyone is, then we can certainly make one night about how we songwrite, because trust me, it's a lot easier than what you think, if we use the theoretical route. If we just blindly keep playing chords until we know something, or something sounds great, that can take you forever. Could come in a couple of seconds. But certainly we can cover songwriting, no question. But yeah, that's entertainment's great. And then of course the Style Council, I think, sticking my neck out, only lasted one album, and he got panned for it. But then it was so different. I mean, it was very jazzy. It was that New Romantics era, and he just, I mean, yeah, his hairstyle changed everything. But looking back on it, it's great. It was some very clever songs. Long Hot Summer is still a favourite. Who's that by? Which one's who did that? Who did Long Hot Summer? I don't know that. My job, not very good with I'm not very good with song titles sometimes. I have to ask the drummer which one it is. That's terrible, isn't it? When you got to ask the drummer. Long Hot Summer. Who's that by? Oh, that was Style Council. Right, okay. Do you know what? I haven't heard. I mean, I remember. Yeah, I remember. You're the Best Thing. Um, just such a great vibe, you know. Yeah, what a song, but really really clever from a songwriting perspective. Um, and it's yeah, I don't remember the album. I remember listening to it at the time. How many times do I listen to albums? That is one that I ought to do. I generally do if I'm changing strings or doing some maintenance. I do generally put an album on. That's one I think I need to revisit. I know I did the other day. Songs from the Big Chair, if you remember that one. I was going to say Simple Minds, but it wasn't. It was Tears for Fears. And that's such a great album from that period. It was brilliant. Absolutely fabulous. Boy, was there some great songs on that. Really, really good. Long Hot Summer's the ballad. You know, I'm going to have to revisit it because I just don't remember it. Like I said, I remember You're the Best Thing, which is a really good grade 5 song. Because it's got, you know, sixth chords in it, minor seventh, minor ninths, major sevenths. Yeah, it's just such a beautiful, but my goodness, wasn't it different than the Jam? I don't think you could have got much more different than the Jam, if I'm honest, which is why he kind of got panned, and then he just kind of then started doing his solo stuff, which was maybe a mixture of the two. I still love Wildwood. I still think that's an absolute belter of a song. And yet it's only 4 chords. It's such a great song, that one. Unreal. No question at all. But yeah, does anyone else remember Tears for Fears? Songs from the Big Chair. And there was some really, I mean, Shout was on there, I think. I think all the hits were on there, actually, if I'm honest. But there we go. It was an excellent album. I was listening to that the other day, and it really was an absolute belter. Every single song on that album was great. I think they're still going. I think they played locally last year, if I remember rightly, up in the New Forest, I think, but I couldn't go, which was a shame. Simple Minds, actually, I was playing that today. Don't you forget about me. So we were just starting to learn that today with a student, which is good. Which is good and heartening that, you know, they're actually listening to that stuff. Otherwise, it's all going to kind of get forgotten about. But at the end of the day, what's new now? They are still touring. Cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mad World. Crikey, I've forgotten about that one. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, that's some pretty dark lyrics in that one. That is... yeah, some pretty dark lyrics. And someone else did a really good cover of it. Gary Jules, if I remember rightly. And they really did I thought they did a really good job on it. It was very, very somber. It was a very good, but like I say, the lyrics for that are extremely dark. But such a great song, you know, well written. And they did it. I love their version, but it's not often I like a cover version more. But I think if I remember rightly, I'd have to listen back to both of them. But that Gary Jules was a great, great version. It was really, really somber. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know I've done it, not for many years. That's one that's kind of, I want to try and bring it back. But like I say, you've got to be a bit careful with some of these songs nowadays. And you have, especially when you work in schools. And it is, it's a little bit dark. But then if you think about the absolute classic by Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah, Ever read the lyrics to that? Oh, heck. That's a bit weird. That is a bit weird. And yet they play that in school all the time. It's a good singer song, that. Well, I've done it many times. Backed many a singer with that one. They all seem to prefer the Alexandra Burke version. Oh, is it? Do you know what? Well, that's interesting. I've been doing that this week as well, Boulevard. And but yeah, but Hallelujah. I mean, Leonard Cohen, bless him, he wrote some great songs, but I didn't like his voice. And dare I say it, it's similar to Bob Dylan. He's written some amazing songs, but I can't say that I really like his versions. I like the cover versions better, like Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower, and things like that. But Boulevard of Broken Dreams, I'm going to have to look at that now and see. But also, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, which is... Where are we? Jeff Buckley did do a good version. But that's Boulevard. But what's this? I think we all might know that one. I'll probably get a strike for playing that. Yeah, Wonderwall is basically the same as Boulevard of Broken Dreams, but with the sevenths and the sus sevenths. But yeah, but has it all been done? See, that's an interesting question, because I think somewhere along the line, I think it probably has. Yeah, Wonderwall is in actual fact, if I remember rightly, and I'm pretty sure I do, Noel Gallagher had a go at Billy Joe Armstrong and said, "Oh, you've nicked my song," and Noel Gallagher and Billy Joe went, "You've nicked everything you've ever done, Noel," and he went, "Yeah, all right, fair comment," and they had a beer, which is the way to sort things out, if I'm honest, rather than suing every time. And that really annoyed me. That's just reminded me during the week, because I put out, was it last week? It was St. Patrick's Day, so it was last week, wasn't it? And so I put out, was it Still Got the Blues? And someone had to go and comment, "Oh, he robbed that from Judd's Gallery," which was an obscure German band. Now then, there's an interesting story behind this, and it's worth going to listen to, because in my opinion, and just about everyone I know, I think, probably everyone I know, Gary Moore got absolutely stiffed by his lawyers on this. He should never have lost. He never lost the court case, because this obscure band called Judd's Gallery, who are German, and I can't even remember the name of the song, all right? No one had ever heard of it, but I think they played somewhere where Gary Moore was once, and they reckon that he robbed Still Got the Blues off of their song. And if you listen to the two of them, I'm sorry, I can't really see a major similarity. And again, we're going back to, you cannot copyright a chord progression. It was a Gary Moore song, simple as. But he lost the case. And I think that's why he had to sell the Greenie Les Paul, because he was just stuck with, I don't know that, and I don't know that. And I think it really affected him, because that guitar he absolutely loved. That was the one that, he was either given or he paid very little for it from Peter Green, which is now in the hands of Kirk Hammett. But at least Kirk Hammett plays it. I'll give him his due on that one. But, yeah, and I think he had to sell it to get the money to pay off the lawyers. And I think, well, the lawyers shouldn't have got paid, because in no way should they have lost that court case. I would play it on here, but seeing as I got a little notice from YouTube the other day for playing a short clip of an AI song, I'm not going to do that anymore. because otherwise I'll probably get, I don't want to cause myself any trouble. But if you check that out, if you put Judd's Gallery versus Still Got the Blues, you'll hear the two songs. And honestly, I really don't see it. I really, honest to God, please go and listen to it. He should never have lost it. I don't know how he. I don't know. Anyway, it's water under the bridge, as they say. Oh, I don't know. But I think that affected him, and I really do. And he's not around anymore, and he died far too young. And I still rue the day that he did die, because I think a little bit of me died when he died. Because he's just, if it wasn't for him, I would never have taken up the guitar. Really, it's as simple as that. And I absolutely love his playing. To me, he spoke to me. Doesn't speak to everyone, but we've all got different tastes, so that's kind of fair enough. But yeah, so but please go and have a listen to it. And then you've got opposite cases where, what was it, Ed Sheeran did Photograph, and then there was Matt Cardle did a song called Amazing. Now, if you listen to them two side by side, the lyrics are different, but the melody is exactly the same. And I believe he settled out of court on that one. I don't think he had much choice on that one. Now, whether he meant it or not, I don't think he did. I think Ed Sheeran, whether you like him or whether you don't like his music, I like him. I think he seems like a nice sort of guy. He came up through the ranks. He's a really good player with the looper. And I've never seen him live, but I've had some friends that have seen him live, and they said he works that stage like mad. He really does put on a show and a half. And also, I must say, he's given me lots and lots of easy songs to teach kids, because most of them love him, although some don't. And the reason they don't love him mainly is because he's ginger, which I have absolutely no idea why that is. I've still never got to the bottom of that. I really have. It's pathetic, quite frankly. But there we go. It's that thing that seems to be a rite of passage through school kids. Oh, we can't like him because he's got ginger hair. So what? I mean, like, it could be against grey hair. That would be me stuffed, wouldn't it? You know, that's for sure. But I don't know. There we go. But yeah, but Ed Sheeran, I think he's good. But yeah, he's but then, like I say, he's been sued many times. But you know, it's because. But I think most of the time he's won because he has proved that you can't copyright the chord progression, which is absolutely right. No question about that. But yeah, poor old Gary. But at least we had him, I suppose. That's the thing, you know. Yeah, that's all we can do. So, who's everybody's favourite? Right, okay, sure. Thinking about a lot to do. Go to his concert. Yeah. Are AC/DC playing? Are they going out on tour again? Can play for those about rock. We salute from AC/DC for sure. Thinking about what it would be like to go to his concert. Oh, or is that Ed Sheeran in Mexico? Because I know Ed Sheeran is going. I think AC/DC might be going out on tour again. I don't know. But I think from what I heard, Ed Sheeran is actually moving to the States because I think he's got a lot of gigs to do over there. And I understand why, because if you kind of... Led Zeppelin did this in the 70s. They kind of had a central hub in like the Midwest, I think. And then wherever they were gigging, it was a maximum of a 4-hour plane ride back to the same hotel every night. Which obviously is kind of better, and they had their own plane, obviously. And if you read the books, never mind. If anyone ever does read any books on Led Zeppelin, the one that I can thoroughly recommend is the one that's called Stairway to Heaven, which was actually written by their tour manager, Richard Cole. So he was actually there. A lot of the others are just picking up books and from interviews and what have you, and sometimes making things up. But maybe Richard Cole was, I don't know. But it is a thoroughly good read, that's for sure. Back to acoustic solos. Francis Goya made a. Right, I don't know. I'll have to check that out actually. Where's my list? One of the million lists I've got. Oh yeah, Kashmir. Yeah, in Dadgad. Tune in DADGAD. Yeah, what a song that is. The timing on that. It's now I'm going to try and get this right. This is where, if I remember rightly, aren't the guitars in 7/8 and the drums are still in 4/4, but it resolves itself. They were Jimmy Page, honestly, clever cookie. He knew his theory. I mean, in the 60s, there was only two session guitarists, really. Well, three. There was Big Jim Sullivan, Little Jimmy Page, and a guy called Vic Flick. There's a name for you. And Jimmy Page learnt a lot off of Vic, and that's for sure. He was, I think he died actually a couple of years ago, which was very sad. He played on everything, my goodness. The most heard guitarist that no one ever knew who he was, but he was a big session guy. So Jimmy knew his stuff. He really did know his stuff. And that's why I think the four of them just worked together. And of course, John Paul Jones was incredible theory guy. What's funny about John Paul Jones is his dad said, "What the heck are you taking up the bass for? No, you should stick with the saxophone or one of the brass instruments." He did. He said bass will be just a fad, because it was the early days of electric bass. And his dad thought it would never take off. Well, I think that's kind of, that's been proved to be wrong, because it did. But he was, again, the quiet one, as he's called. Again, he was a session player, keyboards, bass, and brass. I can't remember what he played. Don't think it was sax. I can't remember, if I'm honest. I don't think he's ever released a book, if I'm honest. I know that the rumour has it Jimmy Page has written a book, but this is what I've heard. Now, whether this is true or not, I really don't know. It could be internet fantasy. I really don't know. But it's not to be released until after his passing. But there's always been a lot of rumours about Jimmy, obviously with the black magic stuff. And, we know he was heavily into that. He bought Aleister Crowley's house, and he used to go to auctions. He was very obsessed with the occult. I don't know. I mean, that's his thing, I don't know. Because they never really did interviews, because Peter Grant, that was it, the fifth Led Zeppelin, the manager, big bloke. That was a good read, his book actually. He just decided no interviews, very mysterious, and it worked. I mean, as far as the rise to fame is concerned, they went from obscurity to superstardom in record time. I don't think anyone exploded as quick as they did. I mean, they deserved to, don't get me wrong, because Zeppelin were very, very clever. No question about it. And, such an important part of rock music. Huge. They were really the first. Well, they were about 78, wasn't it, when it was the New Yardbirds. And then it turned into Led Zeppelin. And, and you think that was the beginning of it. In 71, they released Led Zeppelin 4, which was the album that absolutely took off. I mean, they were big before, but after Led Zeppelin 4, which is still probably my favourite album of theirs, mainly I have to say because Stairway to Heaven is on it, and I know it's been overdone, and I know it's banned from every music store. Don't care. I still think it's one of the greatest songs ever written. The way he wrote those guitar parts, absolutely phenomenal. It's just a masterclass, utter masterclass. how he approached it, how he did it, how he layered it, because he was into his recording as well. And they reckon Plant, he wrote the lyrics in about 20 minutes. I mean, one of the greatest songs of all time, and it was written in, less than half an hour. Crazy. But then they say these big songs quite often just write themselves. Not that anybody knows what it means, of course. A bit like Bohemian Rhapsody. And they used to ask Freddie that all the time. Well, what is it all about? And he said, whatever you want it to be about. It doesn't matter. It was nothing. The internet obviously goes mad nowadays. It says, oh, well, it's this conspiracy or that conspiracy. But don't know. What's everybody's favourite song? Not band. So the one song you couldn't do without. So your Desert Island Disc, but number one. So what is everyone's number one? Yeah, the BBC Sessions Art. Yeah, the Polite Applause Art. Yeah, that is really, Alter Hugo. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, and literally within 6 months, the whole thing had changed. And then it was like, the crowd were going wild. But yeah, which is weird because that came after the Beatles. And the crowds to that were just like, the Beatles record, they couldn't even hear themselves on stage. And they didn't have the equipment that we have nowadays, obviously. And of course, nowadays there's all in-ear monitoring, which is good. I don't care what anyone says. I much prefer that nowadays. In-ears is the way to go. It really is. No question. But, they couldn't hear themselves play. Oh, yeah, Over the Hills and Far Away. Man, what an album that was from. Oh, I remember that. That must have been about... I can remember the years of albums by my girlfriend at the time. That's terrible, isn't it? And I know I was seeing her in 86 and 87. And it must have been 86. Because she lived in... I know where she lived. And it wasn't where we ended up living. So that must have been about 86, I think. And that was, what an album. And The Loner, when I heard that, was one of the first real instrumentals, sort of bluesy, because it is, guitar that I'd ever heard like that. I played that to death. And I really did. And I still love that. And if you look at a live version, I think he played in Stockholm. And it was 15 minutes long, and every single second of it, he had you in the palm of his hand. It was, unreal. Steely Dan, crikey, what a great band. I don't know where you're from, but there's an occasional cover band that do just Steely Dan songs. And I'm trying to think. What are they called? And it's the Stacey Brothers. And many other luminaries. And I don't know if anyone knows who Jeremy and Paul Stacey are. You may well not know who they are, but I can guarantee you've heard them playing somewhere along the line. Royal Scammers. That's it. The Royal Scammers. So look out for that, because if anyone's going to take off Steely Dan, trust me, they can. Paul is a guitar player, keyboard player, producer. He's played with the Black Crowes, Oasis. I don't think. I think he produced for Madonna, Paul Weller. I don't think there's anyone A-list that he hasn't. And I do have a connection to Paul, and I caught up with him a couple of years ago, about 18 months ago, which was the first time in many years, because he actually sold me my first guitar. He couldn't remember what it was. I didn't expect him to, in all fairness. But yeah, so he's primarily a guitar player and a staggeringly good one. And Jeremy is the drummer. And what they used to do, they're twin brothers. And they lived very close to me. And what they used to do, used to have a room in their house where, they had all their music here. And they'd go out and they'd buy albums. And they would literally learn the parts off of them. Unreal. They are. And I saw the two of them with Pino Palladino, and if you don't know who he is, he's probably session player number one in bass. He's played with everybody. If you've got a big show with lots of different people on, generally speaking, it's Pino. Incredible bass player. And Jason Rebello, who's a keyboard player, and I saw him in a very, very small venue, probably less than 200 people. Didn't know anything they were playing. It was all kind of jazz. And I'm not into drum solos, but when Jeremy took a drum solo, it just redefined to me what a drummer could actually do. I would suggest he's probably one of the best players in the world, no doubt about it. It totally enthralled me. It's the only drum solo I've ever heard that totally had me captivated. I don't know why. There was just something about it that hit home. And then the following week, I was watching Jeff Beck at an arena, and Jason Rebello, the keyboard player, was playing with Jeff Beck then. So, you are talking, I forget what they even called themselves. I think it was just the Stacey Brothers. I don't know. But yeah, the Royal Scammers. That's what they're called. Look out for them. They do, yeah, Donald Fagan, yeah. They do these, I think it's like if they've got and like all the other musicians are absolutely top rank, no question. I think if they've all got a bit of time off and they're all not doing something for some reason, it's like, well, okay, let's go and do a couple of gigs then. And that's what they do. Do a lot around London and the suburbs. They might take, I know it's been very, very popular for them. But like I say, if anyone could take them off, those guys can. They could take anyone off. And that's for sure. And I remember when I saw Paul, I said, what are you up to then? And we had a chat about old times, and he said, he said, just doing some stuff with Noel, Gallagher, and Robin Ford, so doing something with them at the moment, a few things on the go. I'm thinking, I'd love to have your address book in your phone, because, but, and this is the thing, that guy can walk down the street, no one knows who he is. No one knows. Very, very, very few people would know who he is. And yet that night he might be going out and playing with Tom Jones, or he used to play with Oasis. Any of those guys, and that's what I think is brilliant. I think he's got it made. I really do. And I know the thing today in our modern world is everybody wants to be famous. Why? I don't see that, you see, and I really don't. Maybe it's because I'm old. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Oh, any major dude, yeah, cool. But yeah, it's yeah. I've never wanted to be famous, and would still stick by that nowadays. No question. Because everybody always wants it, and then when they get famous, then they don't want it anymore. I wouldn't mind some of the money. That would be nice. But to be able to go out and play in front of tens of thousands of people and then just walk away. But then think about this. How many people would recognise Angus Young walking down the street? How many people would? Now, if he had an SG strap around his head and obviously his shorts on and his school tie, they'd know him. But in civvies, would they know him? No. A few guitarists like myself would know, definitely. But not many. The vast majority of people. But then if Ed Sheeran walked down the street, everybody knows him. So I think, again, AC/DC have always been the most secretive band ever. Realistically, never do interviews, or very, very rarely. And I don't blame them, because they can have a life. I think more people would recognise Brian Johnson, although many years ago, I know he'd been in AC/DC probably for 10, 20 years by then, because he's been in it 46 years now. 46 years, 1980, was Back in Black. Year I left school, crikey. And he went into a charity shop, and he was going through the vinyl, if I remember rightly, and he saw a copy of Back in Black. So he took it up to the bloke at the counter and wanted to do his bit for charity. He wasn't being big-headed, because he isn't. I think he's a really nice guy. And he said, do you want me to sign this for you? And the bloke went, why would I want you to sign it? I said, mate, I'm a singer on it. Are you? He didn't even know who he was. But then, I don't know. So, like I say, Ed Sheeran couldn't get away with it. He couldn't walk down the street. But then nor could Elvis or nor could Michael Jackson. And they both went very, 40 and 50, I think, wasn't it? Or something like that. Very young, because they didn't have a life at all. You know, why would you want all that fame? You can't do anything with it. You can't have a life. And I try and tell that to the kids, and oh no, but I really want to be famous, you know. Well, I don't know. Eat horses for courses. I know it's not for me. And if you want to be that way, then fine. But I see too many pitfalls, if I'm honest. I see far more pitfalls than, you know. I think the only good thing is the money. And if you're motivated by money, then fair enough. I never have been. I know I've got to have it, and I know I've got to earn it. But I've never. I don't know. I want to try and enjoy myself while I'm here, and I don't ever see me giving up work, if I'm honest, because I love what I do. I'm very lucky to do what I do. I had a proper job once, didn't like it. No, that's not true. I did like it, but I prefer this, and I prefer helping people, and I really do. I think you get far more from it. And this week, do you know, you get a lot of kids that, oh yeah, I've got to do a concert because it's part of my course and all this, and you know, they're not in it. And then we had a school concert at the PRU I work at this week, and we got a girl singer there. And do you know what? They've been really great, this bunch. Really, really great. And they all work together, and they all support each other, and they all help each other, and that's lovely to see. And we had a concert, we've been working on it since Christmas, and unfortunately on Sunday night, I think it was, she got rushed into hospital with appendicitis and had to have it removed. Now that's a pretty grim operation. It's not, might be kind of routine nowadays, but it's not easy. And she made her mum bring her into school just so that she could sing. And we were so impressed. And do you know what? That sort of thing means so much to someone like me. And it really did. Yeah. Yeah, I did like my job, but nowhere near as much as I do now. So it's great when you see that kid who was in a lot of pain still. I mean, this is Wednesday, and she'd had, you know, what I consider major surgery on a Sunday. It's only 16. And she got up there and she sang her heart out. And she loved it because she didn't want to let her mates down, and she really wanted to do it. And that, yeah, I love that. I thought it was great. That sort of thing makes your day or your week, really. And that's the great thing about teaching, I suppose, you know. But there we go. Yeah, no. She's feeling. I mean, she was a bit tired afterwards because she sang about 4 songs, one of them solo. Yeah, she did a really good job, but she just really wanted to do it, you know. And she went home straight afterwards, and I went out and me and the other music teacher and just said to her mum, look, she did really good, and just bigging her up. And it gives her the confidence, you know. And that's what music can do, because music can bring kids into school, you know, and I see this on a daily basis, and I really do. And that's kind of like why I love doing the schools that I work at. I mean, at Bourne, we were, how many concerts did we do last year? 17. Most schools maybe do 1 or 2. We did 17. There's going to be more this year. And most of them want to get up and do it, and they love it, you know, and we love it as well. So it's really kind of, it makes your job worthwhile. And it's all about teamwork as well. But some of those kids would not go into school, and I know this for a fact. They would be non-attenders if it wasn't for music. And I just wish the government would just support it just that bit more. Do you know what I mean? I really wish that governments would really see what music does to people. You know, I mean, like I've said before, Wales now is on its third year of giving every school child a free peripatetic music lesson, which is good. And they have found that it's helped in the other subjects because it's got people into school. It's the carrot and the donkey, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's getting them in. So, look, okay, you've got to do some maths and English, all right? But you can do some music as well. Right, okay, let's do it. Everyone's a winner, aren't they? You know, I just wish and they do it in Scotland. Why can't we do it in England? Why can't we? You know, I know it would cost money, but would it in the long term? Would it, if you've got a non-attender, trust me, that's an expensive, it really is. You know, the way the system is set up. You know, music is a benefit. Yeah, and it should be. You know, in China, it's a core subject. And I've had a meeting this week with a Chinese company that I work for. And hopefully they are going to be sponsoring us at Bourne by giving us some instruments. And they're going to come over, I think, and hopefully, because they're all about education as well. Because it is a core subject over there. Music is a core subject, like maths and English. And governments always, I'm getting political now, and I always said I wouldn't. But it's connected to music, so I'm going to forgive myself. But they always look to Asia to get better STEM results, maths and English. Well, yeah, also look why. Because music, and I swear this is true, is because music is a core subject as well. And it's within most people. Most people like music. They really do. Not everyone, admittedly. But, you know, I think it should be a core subject. But like I say, I am slightly biased, and I'm also losing my voice. So, guys, I am actually getting quite sore. And I think it's due to a new fire that I bought, a new heater for in here. And I know they can smell a bit funny when you first turn them on, but after 4 days, it was still horrible, so that's going back. And I think that's what's given me a sore throat, and I can really feel it grating now. So, music is universal. Absolutely right. Yeah, I couldn't live without it. I couldn't. I mean, if I took music away, I mean, I wake up, I'm singing something in my head, albeit badly. I know that's how I earn my living as well. But even when I wasn't earning a living, you know, whenever I was working, I'd always have the radio on or whatever, you know, because I think it's great for mental health. I really do. And that's a big thing now. And so it should be. So it should be. We should be, you know, definitely all looking after our mental health more, as well as our physical health. But, you know, I come from it. And it's funny because a kid asked me today, because I'm trying to drink a load of water, and because I've had this kidney stone, which, by the way, stop press, I think, I'm hoping I've passed it. I think. I'm not going to say how I found it. Definitely not. But I thought, oh my goodness, is that it? And I believe the consultant said it was supposed to be 3.7 millimeters from the scan. And I have got a vernier because I've got lots of tools because I love playing around with things. And I measured it and it's 3.38 mil. So it's going for testing on Monday, I think, just to make sure it is. And then I'm free. I'm free to fly again, hopefully. I hope so. I hope so. I'm not going to show it to you. It's in a little pot over there. And how I found it was just hilarious. But there we go. But anyway, hopefully, and finally, I had a scan Saturday, and it happened Saturday night. Couldn't have happened the Friday night. Then the scan would have showed that it had gone. Anyway, they might give me another scan anyway. But if that proves to be the stone, which I took a photo of it, this is sick, isn't it, really? And then blew it up to see what it looked like, and then looked on Google Images. It looks identical. So please, and I can't think where else it could have come from. So I'm really, really hoping that's it. And I'm a free man. Hey, Jake, how you doing? I hope so, mate. Ah, my blooming throat. Oh, crikey. But we'll see. It's going for testing on Monday. And hopefully, I would rather they give me another scan just to be 100%. Yeah. But that's typical. It happened Saturday night. And earlier in that evening, I'd had a scan. If only that... Oh, well. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm just praying that that's it. And then maybe I can look at that thing called a holiday. But I don't know. But we'll soon see. So I might be able to fly over to Summit this year, Jake. I don't know yet. We'll see. That's hopefully. Shame there's no Gear Street though, mate. That's a shame. It is a shame. I was really looking forward to that. But I totally understand Henning and, wanting a break. Because, man, that's just a lot of work that he puts into that. And it really, really is. So I don't blame him having a break. But I was looking forward to it. And I can't help but be a bit disappointed. But never mind. Perhaps I'll just go over and haunt him anyway, Oh, yeah. Play like a Rolling Stone. Yeah, there's plenty of... There's plenty of jokes there, especially the one. I'm not going to say how I found it because this is no, definitely not. But it is quite funny. But hey ho, there we go. Never mind, guys. I am seriously, as you can probably hear, really losing it now. All right. Sorry. Oh, crikey! I meant to say I can't be here next Friday because I'm out. But the Friday afterwards, which is I don't know, which is ending the Easter holidays anyway. So let's have a look. I don't even know what the date is today. It's the 20th today. Why has that done that? Oh, discard. What have I done? I don't even know what I'm doing. So that would be the next one. It's not next Friday. It'll be the Friday after, which is the 3rd, which I believe is Good Friday. Not that makes any difference to me, if I'm honest. But yeah, next week I am out doing something, so I can't do it, and I'm away on the Saturday as well. So there we go. So I will hopefully... he's selfish. I'll tell him you said that, man. But yeah, sorry. The only other thing is... where am I? I could do Thursday. Does anyone want to do Thursday? If you do, tell me now. And I'll do it on the Thursday. Because... April the 3rd will be 2 weeks today, yeah. But if anyone wants me to do it next Thursday, which is the 26th, we're still in school term and I'm not teaching that night. So I think I can do the Thursday. Let me know. If not, it will be the 3rd. Probably will be the 3rd, in all fairness, because Jake, did I leave that in here? I did leave that in here, didn't I? Did I leave it in here? I did. You've got the SC Custom, the Harley Benson, haven't you? Which I believe... Oh no, I must have took it indoors. I don't know what I've done with it. I've got too many guitars here, there and everywhere. You did a video on the SC3, SC Custom 3. Man, I'm probably going to leave it till April the 3rd because I've just remembered I've got about a load of videos to do before it. So it's probably best to wait till April the 3rd, I'm afraid. Yeah, Jake, what did you... you got the Harley Benson. No, that SC... Yeah, you want that yellow one? It's really cool, man. That's the one I did the Randy Rhoads solo on because Betty, that was a he asked me to do that. And he said, can you really tell you? I had to laugh because he said, I've got a Randy, because he knows I love Randy. So I've got a Randy Rose solo I'd really love you to do. And I just got in quick. I said, please don't make it Mr. Crowley. I said, I'd have to spend 3 months at my age trying to get that speed up again. He said, no, it's SATO. Mate, it's really cool. It's really good. Yeah. I'm going to keep that one, definitely. Because I thought, well, hang on, I've got 3 Les Paul types then. But actually, it sounds great. It plays great. The neck profile on it is brilliant. Because it's a little bit, it's a 60s kind of Les Paul, neck, more skinnier. But yeah, it's definitely a great guitar, that. But then what isn't from Harley Benton now, man? Seriously, what isn't? I don't know how they're doing it. I mean, this is, I don't know. I don't even know which one this is, but I know it's about 350 quid with stainless steel frets, flame maple fretboard, flame neck. I think the trem's half decent. I only put the bar in. Sounds great. Looks great. Feels great. The neck is a little bit chunkier than I would normally go to. But having said that, I'm kind of getting used to it. And I think I just got to drop the action a little bit. Just not much at all. And I really like it. I don't know how they do it for the money. I really don't. Unlocking tuners as well. I don't know. I just don't know. I honestly don't think I could recommend any budget guitar better than the Harley Bentons. But I say budget, they are only budget in price. They sound great. They play great. I don't know. I think the trouble is we've all been brainwashed over the years. I was thinking, I've got to buy American Fender, an American PRS, and you don't. You don't. The difference is, yeah. It is that 60s kind of neck, which I love, that sort of profile. I've only got small hands, so I don't like it too chunky. That is a little bit chunkier, but I am getting used to it. I was playing it last night and played it tonight, so I'm getting used to it now. I think there is something to having a little bit more of a chunky neck to get a bit more sustain. I don't know if that's true. And we're going into Tone Woods as well, which is another one. Yeah, I'm not getting involved in that one, especially if Glenn's about. Yeah, we know his views. I still think Tone Woods is a thing, but I don't know. I really don't know. Guys, I'm going to have to go because this is really grating on me now. I will see you on April the 3rd, which is Good Friday. Okay. And, yeah. See, crikey. Now I'm going to try and find, you wait, I'm going to find that microphone now. I know I've seen it and I just don't know what I've done. I put it somewhere safe, so safe I can't find it. Okay then, guys, I will